You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video. Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming, and some of you know me on Twitter, The Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Adastra. So y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go! Have to see how our lovely couple can get past this whole death thing. Okay? Alright, gotta get myself in the dramatic mood. Okay, alright. Please, don't cry, let's just be together right now. I sit up straight and pull his head against my chest for once, cradling his massive form against me, caressing his ears and neck. I'm okay. I promise you. I went somewhere when I died. The word is so strange to say. It was really nice. It was full of people. I wasn't alone. It was peaceful. Amicus takes a deep, shuddering breath, finally pulling back from my hug. That's wonderful, Kyllian, but I'm sorry, because I'm not letting you go back there. Amicus suddenly looks resolute as he smirks through the tears. You're coming back with me. His voice breaks several times, and I can tell that he really means it. He really is certain that he's going to drag me back from the dimension of the dead. I don't know what to say. I don't know much about the parents or the afterlife, but Amicus must, so I trust him. I smile up at him. Okay. He smiles back at me, then very suddenly kisses me. It's rough and wet, and he kind of misses my lips, but I kiss back, holding him tightly. Once he finally draws back, I'm happy to see my wolf back to his usual confident self, even if he has to keep sniffling with his runny nose. I look around at the swirling cosmos again. Can you just, get us out? Amicus frowns, looking around himself. This is actually my first time doing this, so I'm not sure. Amicus looks behind us, then up and down, and clears his throat. Com? Com, are you there? Silence. I can tell that Amicus is already out of ideas. The parents are doing this, right? I think so, though I've never spoken to them. You actually have more experience with that. Amicus grins at me, then looks back up. Maybe if we walk back. I give Amicus a strange look, and just as I'm about to point out the absurdity of walking back to Adastra through infinite space, a booming presence makes itself known. I suppose you are finished. Amicus and I both jump, and the wolf leaps to his feet, keeping me held in his arms. Who's there? Amicus shouts into the void, snarling. It's okay, Amicus, it's just the monitor. I say it like he's just an old friend of mine. Amicus doesn't lower his guard, however, and continues to growl into space. The monitor expresses his amusement in that silent way of his, but I can understand why Amicus isn't letting his guard down. It's evident the way he's holding me, clutching me tightly to his chest. He's afraid I'm going to be taken back from him. I am too. If you are, I'll open the channel of communication now. Amicus raises an eyebrow. What the hell are you talking about? You wish to speak with the parents, correct? They wish to speak directly with you, at least as directly as is possible. There's a pause, and I see the gears turning in Amicus's head as his ears flick. Yes. Then it is done. The monitor's presence vanishes, and suddenly there's another one. Not one, but many, similar to what I had felt earlier. This is still different. Instead of melding together, these entities are distinct and separate from each other, but they're so similar that they could be copies of a single person. Their intentions feel disturbingly uniform, like they're all on the exact same path. Unlike the monitor, who at least felt to be on a similar level as any other sapient, these entities feel alien. Which is a strange thing to feel after everything I've been through, but these things are so different. So different. Oh. Well, show yourself. Amicus barks at the emptiness, somehow remaining brave in the face of all these titanic presences. You cannot see us. His mouth moves on its own, mine suddenly becoming empty, seeming to blend in with the space around them. Amicus looks down at the human in confusion. What? He stares back. We cannot speak directly to you. Kyllian? But we have other methods. Amicus's face morphs from confusion to horror. God, it's Kyllian! He gives the human a little shake. Hey! He can hear you. He is simply occupied at the moment. Amicus bares his teeth and begins to shake. He's not sure if it's from anger or fear. Likely both. If you don't stop! There's no need to threaten. All is as it should be. Amicus is left to stand there, staring open-mouthed at his lover. 1 second, y'all. Water time. Something ominous and dark churns in his gut. This isn't how he'd envisioned any of this at all. These are the parents? What the hell are you? We are your guide, your benevolent leader, your parent. Amicus rubs a paw over the human's forehead gently, looking into those blank, staring eyes. Leave him be, please! He is not being harmed. He shall return to a normal state after the channeling is complete. But how? Simply put, we are manipulating his behavior through the use of the lingua. Oh, excuse me. Amicus shakes his head, clearly not wanting this at all. With the complete powerlessness he feels right now, it's overwhelming. The speech he'd been planning for this moment, his intention to tear apart the careless arrogance of the parents, it just dissipates. Seeing Kyllian just taken by them like this, it's enough to completely cow any courage he'd once had. And as he stares at the cold eyes of the human, he begins to wonder if this is a nightmare. For a brief moment, Amicus wonders if any of this is real. What reality even is right now. One second, y'all. Okay. That is not for you to wonder, Amicus. All that matters is that you are the one true Emperor. What do you want? Amicus stares down at his human, feeling repulsed by what's happening. For the work of Drusus to continue. For Adastra to achieve its full potential at last. For the Galaxius to ascend. Amicus shakes his head, trying not to focus on the robotic tone of Kyllian's voice, on the strange way his jaw moves, forced to speak in the woven tongue. I intend to do so, but please, let the human go and heal him, please. He didn't ask for any of this. The human is also involved, Amicus. But I involved him. It was meant to be. What? Amicus isn't sure if it's his own mind or the mind of another that brings back the memory of when he had opened the archives, how Earth had been near the top of the list of profiled planets, how it made no sense that an uncontacted world would be on that list at all. And now it does make sense, but at the same time even less sense. Amicus shakes his head, still reeling at the situation he's in, feeling that he's teetering on the edge of madness. Steady. There are many things you do not understand, things that you will never understand, and that is fine. Not all things are meant to be understood by all sapients. But you at least understand that the humans are not uncontacted, are they? Amicus says nothing, knowing that his mind is being read. Somehow woven culture is there. So is Kyllian, Hindu culture, all sibling cultures. The parents go silent, and Amicus is left to stare at the puppet his lover has been turned into. Amicus grits his teeth. Why? Because they are an experimental microcosm, now a successful one, and it is time for them to be integrated into the Galaxius. Another moment of silence. And you want me to help do this? No. Your mission is to help unite the siblings. The first step is Kyllian. That was already my intention. That is questionable. The situation is perilous. Kyllian is furious after what has happened. You need more guidance. Thus why you are here. Amicus snarls. I'm here for him! Amicus nods at Kyllian, at the sapient creature being used as a mouthpiece. You are here for the Galaxius, and as the Emperor, you now have the onus to know all this information, as your father knew, as his father knew, and so on. Amicus grits his teeth again, trying to comprehend what's being told to him, despite being completely disturbed by what's happening to Kyllian. If you wanted galactic integration, then why have we been competing with each other? This was assumed by the siblings themselves. Competition was never the goal. Then why not tell us that? You're supposed to be our guide. The process is slow and careful. Interference is a last resort. This very communication is a last resort, as the siblings and children stray further and further from the path every day, and not just the wolves. It has taken 20,000 years to reach this point, and that time cannot be wasted. Why are you telling only me this and not all the sapiens in the Galaxius? Amicus glares at the face of the human again, stroking the face gently, hating the blank stare he's receiving. As we stated, minimal interference will result in the best outcome. Only select figures are being informed at this stage. A Galaxius developed independent of interference will better serve the greater cause as a whole. One second, y'all. The greater cause! Stars and planets shift around them, zooming forward, and for a moment Amicus feels as though he might be sick. Something dark looms on the edge of the universe, growing slowly, leeching the parts that it touches. The other approaches, and it must be confronted. At this point, Amicus feels unease pierce through his fog of confusion and anger. Oh shit, this is kind of similar to a book I'm writing. Oh my god. What other? Are we preparing for war against something? Then again, that's basically been in science fiction for basically forever. You know, a bunch of distinctly unique races banding together to face a horrifying, all-consuming unknown. It's been in like all kinds of science fiction. So, what other? Are we preparing for war against something? We must prepare for an event many millennia from now. This is one step of many. Amicus lets out a low growl of frustration, the vagueness of this entire situation making his head ache. But what does this have to do with Kyllian? Amicus shifts his hold on the human, just wanting him to come back to consciousness. He must play a role. And you must make a decision, Amicus. Everything seems to come together all at once for Amicus. All this talk of Drusus, of his and Kyllian's apparently fixed destinies. That decision that wolves fawned over for generations, no matter what opinion they held about Drusus himself. The choice offered by the parents to either save his empire or save his lover. Icy cold fear and dread blooms in the pit of Amicus's stomach, and slowly spreads throughout the rest of his body, seeming to leak like a frigid liquid down his groin and into his legs. The wolf feels his limbs tremble as he pulls the human closer to his chest, lips drawing back as instinct kicks in to protect his mate. For a long while, a length of time that's hard to discern, the wolf simply stares into the abyss. He looks up into the swirling stars, clouds, and planets, trying to see these things that are controlling and manipulating him and his lover. Trembling, Amicus shakes his head, taking another step back, away, even though the presence of the parents is all-encompassing. No! Amicus's jaw clenches, hating himself for sounding so weak and afraid. Remembering who he is, the wolf squares his shoulders, glaring into space. No! I won't make such a decision! For once, the unseen place in which the parents reside is silent, but clearly observant. Amicus can feel the prickle of their all-seeing eyes on the nape of his neck. You hear me? I won't do it! I'll stay here forever if I have to! You can't involve us in this foolishness! Kyllian suddenly shifts in his grasp, his head turning awkwardly, leaning up in a strange way that seems unnatural, as if pulled up by strings. Amicus flinches back, feeling a chill run up his spine as he tries to stop himself from dropping the human he knows so well. Foolishness? Kyllian stares at him with an expression that Amicus has never seen him make before. It's cold and almost dismissive, an expression Amicus has never seen him make before. How does this situation, in which the lives of a trillion sapiens teeter on the brink of annihilation, call for such childish statements? Tell us, in what universe would attempts to avoid such a catastrophic outcome be considered foolishness? The human suddenly tilts his head in a natural way, leaning in closer to the wolf, and Amicus gasps, setting a large paw against Kyllian's face, trying to stop the strange, inhuman movements. Stop that! Don't hurt him! The human holds the position for a moment, then seems to slowly relax back into the wolf's arms. Amicus feels his heart pounding in his chest. He'd provoked, well, not even anger from the parents, maybe just annoyance, yet the experience had been terrifying. Seeing Kyllian twist and contort in such a way was unnerving, sure, but the parents had meant to do it, and the wolf is beginning to realize why they're using Kyllian as a puppet. Anger and fear battle for control over the wolf, before the latter finally wins out, remembering what type of decision he might have to make. Please, there must be another way. I can't choose between these two things. There's a pause in the air, and Amicus feels his knees about to give out, preparing to throw himself at the imaginary feet of these monolithic beings. He'd beg until the end of time. Wolven pride be damned. What decision do you speak of? Amicus glances up again at the stars. The decision presented to Drusus, the one decided for him by Mira 10 millennia ago. Amicus frowns, knowing that the parents already know what he's talking about, becoming further distressed that they're making him vocalize things that are so obvious. 1 second, y'all. Water time. Oh, Amicus, don't you know the proclivity of your own people twist and distort to aggrandize and romanticize the truth? Amicus is quiet, waiting, heart still hammering, simply feeling numb at this point. Do not rely on Wolven myth to inform you of parental intention. Only we will speak the truth to you. Amicus lets out a little growl, anger overcoming fear again. And what is it? Why torment me like this? Several moments of silence pass and Amicus growls again, frustrated at the way he's being treated. How his emotions are being manipulated and sculpted like a mound of clay. This isn't what he had been taught at all. Had his father known the parents to be like this? His grandfather? Amicus wishes that he'd been warned somehow. As the silence drags on, the wolf tries to deaden his emotions, to not give these entities any sort of hint as to what he might be feeling, wanting to refuse this blatant attack on his own agency, despite how futile he knows that must be. You can bring back your lover. At this very moment, time stands nearly still in your plane. Kyllian's body and mind are still salvageable. Amicus's heart feels as though it might leap from his mouth, his hold on Kyllian tightening. How? But only if you submit yourself to the benevolent will of the parents. Will you? Amicus furrows his brow in confusion, unsure of what this all could mean. But I've already done so. Ever since I was a pup, we've been told to... After this experience, your mind will waver. You're unsure as to what our intentions truly are. There will be moments in which you will want to question, to doubt our will. You must overcome such moments. Our will is what is best for the galaxies and the universe as a whole. Amicus stares for a moment. And if I don't agree? Then we shall let the human pass on as he naturally should, and we shall wait for a future emperor to take your place. Amicus shakes his head, not wanting to believe this is true. This is the way that the leaders of the galaxies function. It must be done. The wolf is quiet, for once wishing that he isn't in such a position, wishing that he could hide away in the quiet countryside with his human, to live a normal life. That is not your calling. It never was. I know. Amicus whispers, more to himself than the parents. There's a long moment of silence in which Amicus simply stares into space, contemplating what it means to give up any true freedom, to submit himself to the absolute authority of the galaxy. Will you submit? Amicus takes a deep breath. Will my decision affect Kyllian's free will? You said you have plans for him as well. He'll be allowed to make his own decision. We will tell you of his mission once you make your decision. Amicus stifles another growl, hating that his human is being forced into this as well. Will you submit? Amicus closes his eyes, feeling his anger and resilience slowly drain away. Then he opens them. I submit. Blue light swirls in front of my eyes in intricate spiraling tendrils. It's beautiful. And as I begin to focus, I see a blurry gray shape in the middle of it all. Even before I'm fully able to see him, I know it's my wolf. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!